Alright lads, so whoever's left of the stream, we're back with the RNG vs EDG for review that we're making right now. And we're gonna start off right now. We're gonna just go into the draft phase. So I'm gonna go off and go with picking bands. First off, I'm gonna actually move the speed to 2x because I don't wanna waste as much time with this. Okay. Alright, so the first the first ban phase ended, and we see RNG first banning a Camille, with EDG responding with Kench, RNG banning Rakan, then response to Cyan, Caspian, and Galio. So the reason for these bans is that Galio is a normal red side ban in the current meta in 8.4, and so is Cyan. Whereas Camille is RNG basically saying that they do not want to play with Camille on their own team. So Camille is a champion that's currently contested in the picks in 8.4, but it's not that type of champion like it's a Galio or anything else. So you won't see the Camille actually getting picked on and on again. You know what I mean? So you won't see her first pick here because there are definitely counter matchups that allow you to be picked into the Camille, and such as like for example Fiora, or if you want to tank Poppy's way to go. Or you can actually just pick attack and try to survive the lane as much as possible. Regardless, it's a pick that really like limits your team composition early on, and you would rather pick it, for example, let's say as a third pick here on the red side, or in those two picks. But if our EDG do prefer to get it right now, they can actually get rid of some of the champions if they don't see Camille in the first two bans, instead of getting rid of Tank Hench, and then force maybe the enemy to take the Camille, get a counter pick for it in the third pick here, or in the first two picks that you're going to go for. So overall, Camille is like very hit or miss. This is basically RNG saying that we don't want to play Camille, and we don't want to give it to you either. It's like, because we could first pick it, but we don't want to, we want to see what's happening. Ideally, they could have also let it later on, but I mean, yeah. It's their own choice, I guess, in the draft to not play versus Camille, because it might just not like be good for the team composition. Maybe they're banning Camille because they actually want to opt in for a more skilling composition, and since that is the case, they want to get a tank top laner, but they know that Camille is going to be annoying for them, so they prefer to go with just banning it and getting rid of it. The next ban from EDG that comes in as a Galio, which I said is the standard red side ban that you're going to see quite a lot right now. Galio is actually quite a first pickable champion, very, very good in the mid lane. He has lane priority most of the time. He really has some good matchups, and if you do not ban it, you might see a Corki ban very early on, or you might see him get through the first pick phase, get EDG to see like where they pick something else. So like the way with Galio is, if RNG pick it first, pick it here, then EDG can get it and can get a Corki in these like picks or in this pick. So they have three slots open for a Corki, but they're forcing a Corki pick on their side, or something else that can beat it. So such as like you see Crown going for a Vel'Koz sometimes. You see I don't know, like Caspia can also go for it. And if Galio passes through and RNG do not first pick it, then that just means that EDG basically like if EDG pick up the Galio here, then RNG can still respond with the Corki and such. And ideally, like if RNG don't pick the Galio in this situation, if EDG hasn't picked in the first two picks, then they can still pick it as the last pick and ban it. And it's kind of annoying because that will probably not happen, and RNG will choose to go for Galio, and then it forces EDG to pick an early Corki when they might actually want to counter pick their mid lane. So it's still quite annoying because even with Corki, you have the good matchup, but the Galio still has a lot of impact on the game, and it's just very annoying. The Rakan ban is something that's not standard, and you don't see very often, because you will normally go and see the Xayah ban over here, because Xayah is obviously prefer to be the one out of like the Xayah Rakan duo that's banned. And in this situation, I guess RNG just don't want to hard engage with Rakan. They don't mind the Xayah, because they will play probably a fronter back composition, so an ability for them to dive a Xayah, for example, wouldn't be such an issue, and they would, however, prefer like get rid of Rakan, so there's not like a playmaker in the mid game that could like ruin their scaling composition. Basically, these two first bans are saying to EDG that we might go for a scaling composition, might go for a laning composition, so we just want to ban those champions so you don't make plays in the early game. So you can like distract us. Because they're going for a laning composition, EDG is removing Cyan, because he's also like a very good First pick, very good tank, probably one of the best tanks actually, because he has such a good laning phase, he can transition very ultimate game, he's very good in late game as well. And they just want to remove it from the side. RNG respond with a Cassiopeia, showing that they are interested in picking the Rise right now. Rise is a very solid pick right now with the Disrupts buff that are there. He actually gets a lot of AP, a lot of mana for it, and his damage is actually very, very strong early on, compared to other mid laners, for example. So he's kind of like an utility pick still in the early game, but he scales and spikes much more harder because of the item changes that have taken place. That actually benefit him quite a lot. And basically RNG saying we want to go for Rise right now. We're gonna ban Cassiopeia. Do you want to take the Rise or not? Because they're pretty certain that if the enemy takes the Rise, they can still go for something in a melee lane, such as Azir. So like currently, Rise usually loses to the Azir in the lane, but Azir loses to Xerath and Veigar and stuff like that. So like Xerath, Veigar. Wait a second. Let me just pop somebody up over here. I choose a better writing one, but I just want it. Alright. So in this situation, you're gonna see like Rise, like Azir picked over Rise usually, Azir losing to Xerath Veigar or like Vel'Koz probably, but that's more nation pick, like more Crown-esque. And the Rise also loses heavily into the Cassiopeia. So it's like a choice of like champions. Like you ban the Cassiopeia where you take 100 pick Rise, get stronger in the draft phase. But if RNG do pick it right here, like if our EDG do pick it right here, RNG can still take the Azir in this situation. The only problem that I find with this is that they can actually hold for it. So I guess RNG is gonna pick Rise anyway in this situation, in like all of these, and don't mind the Azir matchup into it anyway. So EDG at this point are either forced to pick Rise here, get counterpicked by the Azir probably, or they can pick the Azir. RNG can choose to go for Xerath, for example, or EDG can pick the Azir, and RNG is gonna say like, we still prefer the Rise over the Azir. I don't know what you guys are doing. We still prefer the late game scaling that we have, and thus like I'm guessing it's just RNG just trying to play some mind games with them, trying to like force early med picks so they can like counter pick other lanes much better. So as we go in here, also EDG bans Tahm Kench, very like anti-playmaker support right here. You basically deny the playmaking ability or the playmaking ability that RNG can have, or the safety of it. Also, the junglers that are open currently are Skarner. So Skarner is open. There's Sejuani that's open. There's Olaf that's open. There's like quite a lot of picks, these three being the strongest. Skarner and Sejuani have a harder time to Tahm Kench in the early game. They know that EDG can get either of these champions, and getting rid of the Tahm Kench actually means that they might get the hands of this Skarner unless RNG take it, and then it's very good for them. Now, if RNG were to pick Skarner right here, EDG could just respond with an easy Sejuani or with an easy Olaf, and then it wouldn't matter as much because they could still go for it. But yeah, it's just EDG saying that I know you're not gonna pick Skarner that much. I know Karsa doesn't play it well. You'd rather get a maybe Sejuani or something, and that's the reason why I think RNG is picking also Sejuani here, because they are kind of forced into it, banning Tahm Kench. Although this Skarner goes up in picks, I still believe like they don't want to be counterpicked by the Olaf, so they prefer to give EDG the Skarner and just pick the Sejuani into it, which is kind of the worst matchup, but still very strong because Tahm Kench is out. And so EDG here choose to go for the Azir, just like I said. They're saying, okay, ban Cassiopeia, alright, we're gonna go for the Azir here. You can pick the Rise if you want to, we don't give a shit, we have the better matchup into you. You're gonna choose to go for a late game composition, we're gonna choose to go for a more mid-game oriented one. So it's fine by us, you can pick it if you want to. So the next pick from Haro is Olaf, just as I expected. They don't want to pick the Skarner into like necessarily the Sejuani. Like they could pick the Skarner into a Sejuani because Tahm Kench is down, but I think they just want more early game pressure. Skarner does offer the early game pressure, and with no Tahm Kench being available right now, it was also a good pick. But since they know that RNG is kind of forcing a more late game composition, they do want to get the early game advantage, and Olaf is definitely way better than Skarner doing that. This is kind of a weird pick situation in my opinion, because I would rather RNG would just get the Skarner here, and EDG would get the Sejuani there, but that would probably swap up the roles of the teams that are drafting for. So they're very, very like focused on what they're gonna pick. They know that like we actually do want to go for a late composition with Fabandis, these champions. So we're not gonna allow you to take the Sejuani instead of us. We're gonna take it ourselves. You can get Skarner, Olaf, which are the weaker late game junglers that are tier S. And you're gonna have to play the early game perfectly and try to basically beat us in the early game before we get the points like of us killing, which I think is very cocky from RNG, but it can work. The zero pick is very good, and right now RNG is choosing to pick up the Tristana, which is very safe AD carry. No AD carry is removed, however, from the pool, so we still see like Xayah. Maybe it's not as an important pick because Rakanna's already down, but we still have the Varus that is available right now. We still have the likes of Caitlyn that are available. We have like a lot like what is that? Severe can be available. Like a lot of champions can be available right now, but I'm guessing just RNG just overall like Uzi prefers the Tristana all in all, and yeah, I guess it's just their preference. Not much to be said about it. I guess it's just like personal preference. Although I do feel like if EDG here picks Caitlyn, I feel like that would be kind of a annoyment for RNG, as even with the supports being picked, Caitlyn is kind of a bad matchup for Tristana right now. So yeah, as we said, they will pick this here into Arise because saying we're gonna outscale you. This is why RNG is probably also going for it. They just picked Tristana because we do want to go for a late competition. Once again, we're gonna outscale you. We don't think you're good enough in the early game to get the advantages, when we're gonna basically play around that one. And EDG right here can choose their AD, but since no AD has been banned, they are not really forced for it. Even if RNG banned two AD carries, and they probably will ban the Varus and the Caitlyn away, EDG can choose to go something else. Ideally, EDG could also go for Varus or a Caitlyn early on. Caitlyn would be probably the best pick in the current point. But they choose to go to Kog'Maw, so instead of going for and playing for the early game, they're saying we want our late game assurance as well. If you want to play front to back with those champions, we're going to choose just Kog'Maw and Azir. We're going to respond to your front to back with front to back composition as well. Yes, we'll have the weaker tanks because you pick up the Sejuani, we pick up the Olaf. But even with that, we have Azir and Kog'Maw. We can shred your Sejuani, we can shred your Rise, we can shred whatever tank on top lane you're going to choose. So even if you go for the late game front to back composition, we can still beat you in your own game. Because probably EDG know that their early game is not as strong, so they, instead of opting for Caitlyn, do choose to go for Kog'Maw here, knowing the weaknesses of their own team. And as the next ban will come in, EDG is going to ban away the Jace, which is a very odd ban that I've seen. They will also ban the Kled, so these are very like kind of I don't know, early game like strong top laners, but I don't know if RNG are going to pick them. I don't know, because RNG is already saying that we want to go for a late game composition, so I don't see the point of actually banning those champions away, unless you want to pick up the Gnar for the early game maybe, and that's why you ban the Jace, because you know, let me can play good Jace into the Gnar, and that matchup will probably annoy you. But even so, it doesn't fit quite well with RNG's composition that they've wrapped up until now, so I don't know if they're going to choose Fred. The ban next is coming in for RNG is Braum, because EDG has the first pick right now on the second pick phase. They want to get rid of the Braum because Kog'Maw Braum is such an annoying lane to deal with, and they're going to ban the Ornn then. The flex pick of it is very strong, and actually Ornn, even if you see it here, it's not a ban for like the top lane Ornn, it's a ban for Ornn in general, like support and top lane as well. China just prefers to like play Ornn and flex it on and on again for some reason. And Mako here will probably go for the Alistar. I think, yeah, he went for the Alistar. They just want to get some hard engage onto the Tristana, onto the Rise. Just standard pick for them. Very good into Sejuani as well. And RNG responded with a Shen that has actually gone through draft phase. So you're probably seeing Shen more and more played right now in April 4 and in April 5 that are going to be soon in competitive as well, as he's a very good pick. But right here in China, in this game, I guess he just wasn't contested at all. They just prefer those picks. They just played around the Rise more mind games with it, and they chose to go for a Shen and a Gnar. And with the chase down, this is why I found it so weird from EDG, because with the chase down, they are basically saying like you kind of forced us to pick the Gnar here, but I don't really understand why. You can always pick a tank into the Gnar and still be fine. So like with EDG, with RNG's composition, that's like mostly like oriented for late game scaling. So like late game scaling. It's kind of weird to pick the Gnar here, but I can understand the meaning of it because EDG actually picked the two best, probably front to back, a millionaire and AD duo at this very point, and Kog'Maw and Azir. They say, okay, whatever tank we pick for top lane, you're probably gonna smash him, so we're gonna go with something that's more aggressive. You also banned the Jace, so that means that you will not be able to get the great counter pick into it with Bray's Jace, for example. So check something out very fast. Okay, so with this in mind, it's super weird in that sense where you just picked the Gnar. Like the ban of Jace and Kled was so weird because you want to force them to pick the Gnar, or do you want to force them to pick the Jace in a response to the Gnar? Because if you are red side, so remember you can get a top lane counter pick right now. You already have mid lane picked, you already have bot lane picked. Like you can get a top lane counter pick. Like what's the point in banning Jace? You just pick the better champion out of those. They will pick the Jace, you just don't go for an R, and you go something late game. You have the better front to back because you'll have it. So what's the point of banning it? So that's what I don't understand from the strat field. I just feel like these two bans are very weird and don't really have a place here. But I mean it could work. It can work. Regardless, RNG chooses to go for the Shen support right here into the LSR, makes it a bit safe, into Kog'Maw as well. Allows you to play more around top side, around the bot side, so it's definitely a change in their composition, in their self of playing the game. With an R picked here, EDG are left with probably like Camille is not up. Gangplank, they're probably not going to pick it because they choose to go for a very strong late game composition. So this is how the roles change with instead of RNG going for the clear late game composition, they picked an R, and instead EDG choose to go double tank in jungle top, best front to back players, and an Alistar as well. So I have triple tanks and the best front to back. So now EDG is the team that's going for that. Hey Rectable, what's up? And in response to it, RNG has Joanna, Tristana, and Rice, who are very good late game champions, like very strong. They just pick the Shen, as I said, for more like early game safety to get through it, and the Gnar to get some advantage there. Now the Maokai pick in top lane is not very bad into the Gnar, because you might expect and you might think that, for example, like tanks into Gnar, it's not suicide. No, it's not. Tanks are going to get out, like because they're low economy, they're going to go out probably with a minus 20 CS differential 10 minutes. And that's not the end of the world. And the reason behind that is because the tanks into Gnar matchups are probably, I don't know, decided kind of in the first recall. So because the abilities to like get tab eyes, which is 1.1k gold, the ability to get glacials, which is 0.95k I think gold, or you can go for example like a catalyst, which is 1.1k gold as well, if I remember properly. You can choose to go either 1.3, I don't remember. Whatever. Actually, let me check it out. I don't want to make mistakes here. Calisavians, it's 1.1, yeah, I'm right. Okay, so, just to go for this, basically. As a tank, you have these three options, yeah? And so if your first recall is below 1k gold, you are probably going to win the lane as the Maokai next. Just behind that is because what has the Gnar to buy with, let's say, a 20 differential advantage, like with, let's say, 100 gold advantage after the first recall, he's going to probably have like 1.2k gold, like close to 1.2k gold. That's not enough for a Phage. That's enough for a Mercrus, however, and he will usually go Mercrus, but Mercrus does not boost the ability to like harass the tank. So with Maokai buying a Glacial Shroud, Glacial Shroud is super good because it offers you armor, it offers you mana, it offers you CDR, so you can spam more abilities to wave clear more efficiently, you can shove the wave more efficiently right now because you have the mana to get further, you have the armor, so you can reduce the damage of Gnar base damage. You're not getting HP, so you're not increasing the damage that Gnar Hypers does to you. Yeah? You have CDR as well, so it's like, it's basically the perfect item to play into it. You have Tabais, with which you can reduce the damage of Nar's auto attacks if he does want to go for it. So if he does go for early AD, that's a good buy because he'll probably have 1.3k gold or like close to it, and he'll get a phage. So then you can respond with the Tabais, and that's a good response. Or you can go for a Catalyst and go and up straight into the Abyssal Mask. And the reason why you might see the Abyssal Mask being picked right here is mainly because if you look at EDG's team comp, they have a Kog'Maw, they have an Azir, they have a very, very strong, like, I'm saying that Kog'Maw is very good in late game, but he's actually more of a mid game champion, and so is Azir, but their ability to shred the tanks in late game is what makes them such good, like, potential picks in late game as well. So even though they have this composition, EDG are way stronger from mid game onwards. So like mid game onwards, it's very strong for EDG. Like their late game is great. Their mid game is also super good with this composition, I feel, in my honest opinion. Because yeah, Ryze will get a massive spike in the mid game when he finishes his Serap's Embrace, when he gets his Abyssal Mask as well. Yeah, Tristana will be very strong at 3 items, but that's like mid game or late mid game. Dinar will be stronger in mid game obviously because it's Dinar, and doesn't matter as much. Sejuani scales linearly, so the more you go into the game, the more she's gonna be more efficient. But EDG basically say that your composition is not quite good. You have very, very strong late game. Like the later you go, the stronger you'll be. But we still win front to back. And so RNG's response to Dinar was so weird for me because they're basically suiciding their late game ability that they have for some chance to go into the mid game. And I don't know, it's kind of a choice that they made, but going for the Dinar here to get like the mid game potential to like get maybe an advantage over the Maokai, just so that he's not tanky enough. I don't know. Right. I still feel like for some reason. Thank you, Mina, for following me. So I still feel like in some way they should play more around their late game where the Ryze and Tristana just are much more kind of useful in kind of a way because yeah, the Olaf will go in, but he's not very tanky. So you can kind of still play front to back with this. If you just throw your tanks, however, at them, they will just shred them. I don't know. It's a choice that I think RNG made knowing that it's not perfect, but they couldn't do much better than this anyway. So even though it's going like this, EDG do choose the very like strong mid to late game composition, which I feel like is the superior composition in this case. And if I were to choose one team who would win, I would definitely choose EDG. Even with Ryze being very strong, with Tristana, with Uziel and Tristana, like I feel like EDG's comp is much more well-rounded. It's much more potent, easier to execute. Just can do a lot more. RNG has a harder time executing that, rely on more stuff that's individual-wise. But we're gonna see how this game evolves, how RNG actually managed to win it. This line. Okay, let's go into the game, please. Please, let's go into the game. Alright, so going into the game, Tristana getting harassed a bit early. I think they fought a bit with the Kog'Maw. Whatever, it's just now standard defensive positions that they're gonna adapt. We see Olaf starting bot side. We see Sejuani starting bot side as well. So Olaf full start Wolves, try to do a full clear because he clears way faster. He'll get level 4 way before Sejuani. We'll get it. Nothing too special in the rune setups, just normal setup for absolutely everyone. So yeah, Olaf is actually starting alone. That means that iBoy and Maiko will have the advantage to the bot lane to get the push rolling because Uziel and Ming had to leash for their Sejuani. That's also one advantage that Olaf has because he doesn't get hurt without leash. Because he can just clear it anyway. It's Olaf. So here we see actually Ming landing a very good taunt under the Kog'Maw and the Alistar to kind of force the trade over here, but they kind of equally trade, like they wait to trade equal EDG just because Alistar might to get pulverized into Shen. Here's a level 2 from EDG. They're trying to go for it, but Shen actually plays it well again. I think he manages to taunt the Alistar afterwards, and EZI buffers his W very well. That was the case, yeah? Yeah, he buffers W very well, and Maiko ends up basically losing his combo right here. So if we look on the map, Sejuani actually did a red into blue into Grom, but she was scattered out by the ward that's being that was put here in the blue. Olaf, however, actually wants full clear. He just hit wolves into blue, into Grom, just his raptors. We'll go into red. Sejuani cannot really contest them. Olaf is just way stronger in the early game. But Karsa is regardless just going in, trying to get vision in the jungle. Haru is checking out for him, see where he is. Here comes also Xiaohu, trying to establish some pressure here, maybe try to steal the red buff from Olaf because he was greedy with his path. And here comes also Let Me. So the reason why this is working and why Sejuani is stealing the red buff from Olaf is because of the lane pressures. So for some reason Xiaohu has the mid lane pressure into the Azir and Scout. And that's probably because Scout saw Karsa just clear 3 camps and go into the river here. And he probably expects, okay, Karsa's going to be closer to us. Our Olaf just still wants to farm up. He doesn't have red buffs, or they probably won the 2v2 if that's the case. Because they also have heal, I have a cleanse, so that's the case. Hey, suck. And so because of this, Scout actually gives up the priority in mid lane, allows Xiaohu to push the wave inside. That means that Xiaohu can roam and help out Karsa in the enemy jungle. Because of the matchup that's in top lane, like drafted, like Gnar into Maokai, Gnar is innately able to push the Maokai out on the first before the first recall, and so this is basically RNG playing very well around their 2 solo laners. They know they have the priority in those lanes. They know they can establish it, even though mid shouldn't normally have it. They created this because they knew where Har started. They knew that he took a long, like very prolonged path. That he's going to be a bit weaker now when he reaches the Raptors, and that Scout does not have the help of him. And their 2v2 mid wins. So Karsa, this is why he didn't go for a Talisman and just kill Raptors and full clear versus Olaf to try to match him. Instead, he chose just to be aggressive, to try to play around his strong laners and do that. This is where EDG made a mistake, because even without like this like solo Olaf thing that put a bullet into advantage, I think Olaf could have actually just started topside without a leash, do red Raptors right into blue. Even if it's complicated, you can just like, I guess like, no, you have to do it. You can start W in red, you will not use as much mana, you use your mana on red, you're gonna be your Raptors, you're gonna get a bit low, but you still move on, and because of the ward of blue that was placed there, EDG knows that Karsa has not started topside. So there's no way for Karsa to just randomly invade when Olaf will be low at blue buff. So Olaf right here should have instead started topside in my opinion, should have gone Raptors, towards blue, towards Wolves, Grump, recall, and go topside to see if his golems are up, or continue to stay bot side and try to pressure out the lane of iBoy and Mako a bit, try to like put EJ behind, make him miss some CS, or I think the best choice in this situation would have been, instead of doing all of this, after he full clears, just go in here, get a crab, go, take the Raptors, see if the golems are there, let iBoy and Mako push because you have the advantage of the jungler on that side of the map, and also get golems. I don't really understand your question, Soki. So, I mean, because I can't do it in all champs I play. I don't really understand the question. Like, kiting is, or blocking is important already. It's like by default, because that's how you make that's how you auto space properly and do not get into the melee range of like tank or like control mages. So yeah, I mean, like it's obviously super important. You cannot do it on all champions. I mean, you should just go into practice mode and just try to practice there to all block as efficient as possible. Like, there's no trick to it. You just try to practice it on and on again. Like, just drill it. When you try to CS, just try to drill it. Like, that's it. And into games, like, try to practice it on and on again. Play some normal games, or like play on a Smurf, and try to do it on and on again, and that can help you out. Okay, so return to the game here. As I've explained, Haru's mistake here, why he lost actually the red buff, and why Sejuani get an advantage over here. Now, let me Karsa get a hold of this red buff. Karsa's probably going to take it. He has control over the golems as well. He can also do them if possible. So that basically negates 2 camps off a fall off. That is now forced to go to only clear 4 camps. 5 camps are necessary for level 4, remember. So that means that he doesn't have the advantage of the fast clear. Sorry for this. The advantage of the fast clear and the fast level 4. So now the Olaf is forced to recall, and unless Karsa goes to golems as well and tries to attack them, tries to contest them, then Haru will be running for level 3 for quite a while, because he will not be able to go into the enemy jungle. That's simple. If Karsa goes for golems right here, the distance that's covered, for example, from this side to Raptors is enough as if Karsa goes here and clears this. The reason behind that is because he has Might up. He can just clear it, Smite, go here, recall, Nord protects you, go straight up to your Raptors, get them, and it's super easy then. Because then you deny the ability of Olaf stealing your own Raptors, you deny the ability of Olaf going into your Golems, because you just go Raptors into Golems on Sejuani, and it's perfect. Do you know why? Because the Olaf is the one that's supposed to make the early plays, the one that's supposed to be aggressive. And since you're the one that's basically setting up the tempo right now, you can basically just deny him the ability of stealing your camps. He's now forced to play into the bot side of the map, because that's where his first camps respawn. Wolves and Gromp will respawn the first. Actually, Wolves will be the first camp to respawn, and will respawn a bit like 4:30 or something like that. So like his Wolves will probably respawn at 4:30. So that means Olaf has to stay bot side if he wants to clear his camps. So Sejuani only has to match and clear her own camps instead. She has the lane pressure that Ryze has. She no longer utilizes an R, and iBoy and Mako are winning bot lane at the moment, like in terms of pressure. But that can easily change if the Shin comes into the jungle, like to help it out. So in any way, like Sejuani is super safe. This was perfect. They shut down Olaf perfectly, and now it depends on Har to see how he plays. So Har is a bit actually has Might and will do the golems himself. I don't look that he has Might, and that's my own mistake. That said, Kobo Alistar lane is much better than Tristana and the Shen in the early game, so much you can do there. Har actually gets doesn't get level 3 yet, doesn't get level 4 yet. He will choose to go bot side. His Wolves will respawn at 4:30-ish, so he can still go there, try to clear. Karsa does a great pathing here, goes directly to Crab, takes it because he knows Olaf will be bot side, so no plays can be made. No Olaf can be there to counter gang now, unless he goes from lane, because Olaf has no way to enter it. He doesn't have like an LEW, he doesn't have like a Listen Ward Hop, or anything like that to go over walls, so he'll be seen like 100% if he tries to go for any bot lane plays like a counter gank, because Karsa knows that his bot lane is getting pushed in. He knows that Olaf might try to like get a counter gank there, because Karsa is forced to like act there. Now this is a huge mistake by Mako and iBoy, in which they play very, very forward. They know what happened, they know that Sejuani stole the red buff. They knew that he took the golems, that his Wolves were spawned at 4:30, so Olaf is supposed to stay bot side. They know that Karsa will also match Olaf and stay bot side, and he will just go this way. Now, whether he clears Raptors or goes straight up to clear the Skull Crab, it's something that depends. But the best choice in this case would be just to go to Skull Crab for Karsa, which is great. And that means that iBoy and Mako should expect a gang coming up soon. And they're playing very, very forward in the lane, and I think that's their mistake. And that is why what happens next is like should have been avoided 100%, because it's double kill that 100% should have not happened. And now Sejuani is very, very far ahead, and Uzia as well. Olaf is here trying to get a kill on Tristana. He gets it with Chunk's Might, and he gets a return kill also with Sejuani because of Olaf's attack speed in the, when he's very low. But overall, it's a good trade by the Olaf. But I feel like Uzia is still the one to win out of this, because if you see bot lane is pushing towards him, he will get there in time, so iBoy won't be able to push the lane in time. So iBoy actually loses low CS because the wave is pushing towards RNG, and Uzia will manage to pick up most of that farm. Also, the first items gone are way better for Uzia, obviously. So yeah, we're gonna see replay. We're gonna skip this right here, no point in it. Olaf comes here. He tries to land an axe on Uzia. That's very, very big. He just goes smite charge onto him, and then there's no way to kill the Olaf that fast. Takes some time. Alright, what is going on here? Alright, so right as they get to lane, the wave resets because it crashed into Uzi's turret. RNG is now getting the push because they don't expect a gank from the Olaf to come anytime soon. The reason behind that is because they know that Olaf has cleared his bot side jungle, and that's when after he went top. That's why he was so late actually to the bot lane party. It's because he actually cleared all this shit. So right now, Olaf should be topside in the top side of the map to just clear his camps if he wants to do that. So they don't expect him in the bot side. So I feel like this is very well played by EDG to understand this. But without seeing the Olaf, I wouldn't play this aggressive, because you know he has to make plays in the early game. He has to get some lanes rolling. So I don't know. Just RNG playing so aggressive here, just punishing them massively. Tristana just falls instantly, and so will Ming on Shen. And now iBoy gets the advantage back because he gets the wave. So I don't know, it's just like huge mistakes made by both bot laners, not to realize what's gonna happen. I feel maybe they didn't read the pathing correctly, maybe they just didn't expect it and they were surprised by it, which is also a good thing, but I think it could have definitely been avoided. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Gnar has a 3 CS advantage. As I said, the first recall for Gnar will be a Merc Treads. That's most than 1 into tanks, if you recall, at 1.1k gold. Maokai here, actually recalled it a bit more, but yeah, whatever. Maokai here still hasn't had his recall. He's just using the ult to like annoy the Gnar, to wave clear, because he knows he has TP, so he can use whatever like abilities he has to go to not have any mana anymore, because he knows that if he just does this, the Gnar has no TP, so he cannot recall back and just TP back to wave. Maokai has better buy, so it's perfect. Like, you can harass him and get the advantage in lane after you TP back to it. This is exactly what he does, and he actually opts for a Catalyst. So this is what I explained earlier comes to play about the first buy of the tanks. So Maokai basically here suicided with his buy. It's not a bad suicide, if you can actually say that. Like, I mean, suicide is bad, but this is not a bad one in the situation. Because he will opt into a fast Abyssal Mask. The reason behind that is because they recognize that their mid game is stronger than RNGs until like Uziai gets 3 items. They realize that they can play further back quite easily, and with their current composition, with Olaf being so much stronger than Sejuani, they can just like ideally force mid game team fights because they have the hard engage, they have ways to get in, they have ways to peel. And they're probably going to win, so he opts for an Abyssal Mask to boost the damage of Azir and Kog'Maw. Because with Maokai, if he stays nearby, Azir and Kog'Maw would just destroy the Sejuani and the Gnar and even the Ryze because of the massive damage boost that they get. This, however, means that Maokai's lane will be worse, however, and he trades basically his laning stats for this. But because Gnar went for an early Merc Treads, and Array actually saw that, and he saw that, let me recall and go at Merc Treads. He's like, he's not going to pressure me quite a lot. I might as well get a Catalyst in here, be a bit greedy, play more on my team, maybe get a faster mid-game spike, so we can get like the team fighting rolling on, because we're very, very strong if I get the item. And Gnar won't be able to abuse you much because he hasn't gone for the Phage yet. He hasn't gone for anything to like abuse me. And I'm just going to be fine if I just like sit and farm. Yeah, I'm going to take the W damage, but I can sustain via the Catalyst passive. So going on with a very, very smart choice by Ray here. The gank onto Xiao, who is very smart. They force to use him his ultimate, but that's it pretty much. So ulti of Azir used for the ulti of Ryze. This is the bad part of when you're playing Olaf into a Ryze. You can't really do much to stop his ultimate if that's the case. You have to rely on Azir, but Azir's way to do it is via his R only. So not many ways to gank that lane. It's just pretty awful. Okay, now both mid laners will get their blue buff right here. Azir gets blue buff, Ryze gets blue buff, so now they can actually just wave through to infinity and beyond without giving a shit. Xiao just tries to fast up the wave into Azir so he can actually recall or look for an evade onto the red buff of Sejuani. Sejuani finds Azir over here. Azir uses Z to actually get out, and he tries to contest the red buff. He just goes for a 50-50, like not anything that special. He can just go out easily, doesn't matter. Now Olaf flashes over the wall. This is super important. So Karsa here is like, he doesn't give a shit. Like, Gnar isn't coming. You see Gnar isn't coming. You see Ryze is behind. It's because Karsa said, don't worry, I'll try to 50-50 it. If it doesn't work, they get a red buff, but I still annoy them. If it works, but I don't lose any pressure. If it works, then I get a free red buff, and I can basically get out anyway. I have my ultimate up. I can just ulti Azir and just get out easily peasy, lemon squeezy. It's like, no problem, okay? You see Maokai coming in faster as well. So Karsa does this, and he knows that if whether he gets it or not, he'll just go over here and just go Q over the wall. Olaf has no way to get in anymore because Olaf has to go this side because he's the one that's closer to the Sejuani. So Olaf has to go this way to zone her, and the only way for Olaf to go past this wall then is to flash over it, which is not quite optimal at all. So he just does this, but actually Haro flashes over the wall and overcommits for Karsa. Xiaohu did not expect this. If you see Xiaohu, he actually stepped back. He expected Karsa to just be out and safe, yeah, but that's not the case. Because apparently EDG is very, very aggressive and they just want to go for plays. Here are Haro ults, so Karsa also is denied. But actually, Haro dies super fast because he's so squishy in the early game. When he presses his ultimate, and he just literally just dies. Like, Rise machine gun him. But EDG have the advantage of Ray moving him faster. Ray actually moved perfect timing there, and managed to get the pick off and to get the Rise as well. And to get the Sejuani as well. So that's super good. Now, Azir also falls for the Rise with Shen ulti coming in. So, kind of at the end, it's just a 1-for-2 trade. It favors RNG, obviously. And it was very well played by RNG. I think just Haro overcommitted. I think you should have just gone and said, okay, thank you for a red buff leash, I guess. And just get on with it, not flash or volt. That was very over-aggressive, I guess. And just not really a reason to play it. Now, Azir has no blue buff anymore, and Rice has double buff, and you know what that means. That Rice can just constantly push in the Azir, constantly trade with him because he also has red buff, he has regen. So yeah, if you look over the replay again, I said like he should just be. Oh, actually, wait, no, Karsa gets the red buff. Okay, so Karsa actually smites the red buff, and Haro gets a bit annoyed and goes over and just dies. And here Maokai comes onto a Rise, but the Shen ult is so good. Like Azir does get the Sejuani, but they overcommit. And in the meantime, Azir also dies to the Shen that comes in and to Rise, because Maokai will lock down Rise, but doesn't have enough damage to pick it up. And Azir just uses abilities for that. Now a failed shuffle by Azir, and Rise just, oh my god. Yeah, this is why I said it's so bad. Like, Scout just gets pushed out of wave, 1v2, Xiaohu just literally 1v2s them, gives no fucking shits. Karsa is just here just to protect him, just to be 100% safe that Xiaohu's not gonna die to any, like, mischievous roams from Alistar or anything like that. And they forced mid-tier 1, which is very important into Azir. As is any control mage right now, tier 1 mid lane is one of the most important turrets in the game, because most mid laners are control mages, and hence if you lose this, you're basically going to open this side of the map for the enemy team, as you cannot play too over aggressive. Like, I mean, Azir is kind of safe, but we have to look at that he doesn't have flash up, he doesn't have cleanse up. So up until he gets his cleanse, and maybe even flash up, he has to play very passive, because Karsa could just stay around, like lurk around, try to get a nasty ult onto him, and then he's just going to be permanently locked down and destroyed, because Rise is actually very, very far ahead with the Abyssal Mask, with probably the gold that he'll get via the first turret in the mid lane. Like, he will just hurt a lot. Like, Xiaohu is going to hurt a lot, and this is super bad. This is how Haro basically lost the ability for EDG to actually play, because we have seen iBoy at the bot lane being like doing very, very well. He opted for a call. So if we just wait up until mid game, if we just wait up until 16 minutes, and iBoy can get his Rage Blade. If we just keep it open, yeah, I don't have Reba, fuck it, okay, I'll trade that up. We still have the stronger mid game, we can still play around it, because our Maokai will eventually get his Abyssal Mask as well, and then we can force fights. The first Dragon is Ocean Drake, not really important to any teams as far as I've seen. They don't really value it that much. Even though it's an early game Dragon, like early game Ocean, I would still value it, but I guess they just don't care about it. It's not their win condition, so whatever. Nara continues to get a small CS advantage at top lane. Said minus 20 CS in 10 minutes, but it's actually way less because Maokai actually played as well, and because he forced the Nara into a very good fast recall to go Merc Treads. He went the Catalyst. That means that he can survive, and now he's just like permanently farming up, shoving the wave. He has enough mana, he has enough HP to do it, and that's really, really good. And yeah, iBoy recalls, Uzi recalls as well. No Infinity Edge nor no Rage Blade, but definitely Kog'Maw will have the Rage Blade before the Infinity Edge of Tristana. And as you see right here, Xiaohu is actually pressuring him in very well, shoving the waves inside. So what he will opt in for do now is probably just try to look for roams around, open up the map. Now the only issue comes is that Alistar and Kog'Maw are actually kind of strong, and it will be very difficult to still gank bottom lane usually. And there's also the fact that you have a Shen on your team, so you might as well utilize a global ulti and try to set up a play maybe on the Maokai top lane. And you can do that fairly easy. Like, you will have enough damage. He's not really tanky yet. He doesn't have like Merc Treads to reduce the CC. He doesn't really have Mar. He doesn't really have armor. Like, there's a lot coming. He can use a Shen to dive quite easily. And I think that's what RNG is probably going to do, just establish vision control. But you can see the insane vision control that EDG has put up, because they know they have lost mid tier 1, they need to set up vision right now, or else they're going to fall to the roams of Xiaohu. And what they do is, like, they have a war here in Tribush, they have a pink here, they have a pink here, they have a war here. Like, it's very, very good. Olaf, however, is playing both sides, probably expecting Xiaohu to come playing more bot side oriented since the dragon is also up. But the correct choice is actually just to play around top side with Shen, and maybe even give the tier 1 bot lane, and have instead the top lane like turret fall, top tier 1 fall, because then you can just focus on this turret very easily, because you have the Rise. So you just make the standard lanes. Yeah, Tristana will have the long lane, but Tristana is not as bad into a long lane as a Kog'Maw is, for example, and so you can easily do that. So if you just put a Tristana in this lane, you can still like roam with her, or you can let her here solo farm, solo XP to gain some advantages that she might lose, because the Kog'Maw will get gold from the turret that's gonna fall here, whereas Tristana is gonna get only a small amount probably. So like there are ways for RNG to play this, and there's so many ways for RNG to play this. They can even get a Herald, and then they can easily get bot turret as well when they siege, and maybe even get the dragon to see maybe Nifrolvik is going to come next, because RNG currently is in the driver's seat and they have the advantage. Yes, EDG has a very strong mid game team, but they have not reached the spike. Like there's still the spike to come. Maokai doesn't still have Abyssal Mask. Iboy has no Rage Blade yet. Azir has his Natural Tooth, no Sork Shoes yet, no Mercs, no nothing. Like Olaf is still pretty fucking squishy. Like he went for a jump as well because he he's behind currently compared to where he should probably be, and he just wants to get tanky very, very fast. Also that, he's probably a Warmog's Olaf, although I'm not entirely certain, haven't watched too much of this game. I'm basically doing like almost a first time review. Bryce still, however, has not reached his spike, which is to get the Seraph's Embrace. So we're probably going to expect RNG to wait and sell a bit more up until they do something. So I'm just going to go through this very fast without any pauses like for the next couple of minutes, because yeah, there's no point. Just RNG trying to get vision control. Let me constantly pushing top side. If you have any questions, by the way, about a game or anything, just feel free to ask in chat if anyone's still looking at the stream. So yeah, Sejuani's doing a very good job getting the Herald, which is very important right now because they do realize they don't want to get the turrets over there. Haru realized that. He just went for an Ocean Drake fast. It's pretty much worthless, but you can't do much more than that. You just get what you can. Next trick is a Mountain Drake, so that isn't really helpful to any team whatsoever because they both rely on team fights more than sieging. But I guess it could help the Tristana more because she could do that. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it helps RNG. I guess it actually does help RNG. That's my mistake. The Mountain Drake is actually super good for RNG at this point in time. And as I said, they all try to trade for turrets, but it's a very good play by RNG here to defend the bot lane, not full 40 all-up dive. There's no way to dive yet. Ray isn't there to like help out. Just like Iboy, Haro, Mako, they can't really dive into it. They know the TPs are up. They know Azir has no way to stop the rise. So like, they just had to give a free turret to EDG. They just had to give a free turret to RNG. So like RNG already has like a 4k goal lead, like 3.5k goal lead, well established. Maokai realizes that their mid game spike is not going to come anytime soon. Like they have their spike, but because they are this much behind to RNG, if they would have been equal, they would have won the mid game. So instead, they're choosing just opt for the late game and just says, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna get some armor. I'm not gonna get a little help against this Gnar here in the top lane. I'll basically just split push, so I might as well get armor because he already will opt into the Black Cleaver, so I need this for up until he gets like the Cleaver. God damn it. I hate when YouTube does this and keeps buffering. Alright. God damn it. Okay, so now there are just some small choices in the map, trying to shove some waves in, prepare some waves for the big plays. Maybe try to use the Herald in some way. Like if Karsa took it, I guess you could just go bot side and try to look for a play there, and this is what they're doing. They're like destroying, like trying to establish vision control there, trying to destroy all the cones. So yeah, it's just a slow game for now. RNG slows down a bit. Still waiting maybe for Rice to finish his Seraph's Embrace, where it's a huge power spike. Waiting for Nar to get his Block Giver, which he already has. Tristana has this, yes, Herald. Very easy tower to be taken. EDG to not contested, since there is no real way for it. And the Herald just dies, and RNG has early an even bigger advantage. Lemmy is freezing over here, actually creating a push towards him, so that Ray is denied of the EXP, but Har comes upside to help Ray with that, and then Ray can play more aggressive, contest the waves. Let me realizes that and then backs off. And yeah, it's just like pretty chill for now. The game has slowed down definitely. The tempo is way slower than it used to be. This is basically what happens with Chinese games where teams make a lot of early game plays when they have those competitions to try to get an advantage, and then they just slow down until they reach their spikes. Basically, it's like, or the coach will just whip them, I guess. Yeah, let me try to pressure to her, but unfortunately he's Meganar. Zhao, who has pushed up the mid lane for quite some time now. He still has one debilitator up. Alistar has 3 up against Banner of Command. We see three red trinkets on the side of RNG and 2 red trinkets and 2 blue trinkets on the side of EDG with 1 yellow trinket per team. The reason behind this is that RNG wanted the night vision so that EDG have to play more aggressive, maybe fall in for a pick, maybe play aggressive, do a face check, something like that, whereas EDG don't want to face check, don't want to fall to like Sejuani or the Rise or anything like that, so they're opting for blue trinkets just to be able to scout from distance very easily. Smart choice there, but quite standard. Now, since they know the tier 1s are gone and the waves are properly shoved because actually Ray actually shoved back the wave to allow them to farm safely. They managed to get red buff over there, they managed to get some camps, they managed to starve horror over that, which is all off without being able to farm is it's quite awful. Without items, he's not really that tanky, and I don't really like the choice of Mercury Treads with him. I would have rather preferred an early maybe Lucidity to maybe have more impact on the game. But I mean, yeah. It's his choice. Your car also goes through Marv Dragon, realizes that RNG could use it with the Tristana since they're now in the lead. Sorry, my voice is just going down. Narsa actually chooses the Banner of Command, so a Baron play is possible. We have to look also into EDG because we see that EDG has Azir and Kog'Maw, and they're very proficient at doing the natural. Like even now, if EDG would have been ahead with Azir and with Olaf, I think they could have 2-man Baron. I think that was a possibility, quite easily. Like, the only thing that would have needed is probably the blast cone here, and this is why you probably see it cleared as well. It's like, if EDG were ahead, this could have been a sneaky Baron, if RNG allowed it. But since EDG is the one that's ahead, EDG cannot even do that one, so they just have to stall and wait up until they get like, the proper items to respond to it. Right, let's move on. Let me use just sitting the thread, doesn't give a shit. Baron commands it, he knows Race cannot clear it. They're forcing the recalls of other players, and other players also respond to this, so then RNG is allowed to recall safely. EDG will try to establish some vision, but they don't give a shit. Like, let me just stay bot side and just tries to harass Ray because he knows no one will be able to contest him. Ray has finished his righteous glory now. No Bissell Bash just yet, but yeah. Okay, EDG now grips the 3-man unit in the mid lane, maybe trying to go for a siege or something, realizing that RNG is out of position under Sun top. Let me just utilize his Meganar as efficient as possible, try to get Ray a bit lower so that he transforms into Minar and maybe gets the turret. Tristana has pushed the wave top lane, so someone has to respond to it. It's Zir. And here, this is a great play from Uzi. Like, Uzi, like, amazingly, like, almost destroys Azir. Nari gets bot lane, Uzi destroys Azir, no more wave clear remaining. They could group up mid. They say choose to go to get clear division, the red buff side of the map. Ray makes a huge mistake here and almost falls to Resin and R. And this is a great play by Zhao that you can see here. So actually Ray is tanky enough apparently to tank them. He has Righteous Glory and almost like the Abyssal Mask. So he managed to do that. He kills a lot. And right now, EDG is coming in. So if Ray flash W's here, he's going to catch out Zhao. No ult from me remaining, so that's going to be really good. However, Zhao also has flash, and what he does is insane. Like, he just, when Ray flash W's onto him, Zhao immediately flashes over the wall, sends him so far away from his team. There's no way EDG can close off this gap in such a small amount of time. He's basically there because Lemme is zoning from this side. He will throw Q, he can slow them, and Zhao can just get the hit Ray and kill him. Remember, he has no Mercury Treads, he only has Stab Eyes, and he just isolated me like easily. Easy peasy, like that was very well played by Zhao with the flash there. He massively outplayed Ray and gave a huge advantage to RNG now with one more death on the side of them. Already the goal difference is getting like a bit up. Engage here, that's a bit cocky, but I guess they just wanted to use the ultimates. They know that their ultimates will come a bit faster, so they can utilize that to make use of it. Who's just throwing some more stuff, recalling, Kar's also recalling, Yuzi gets his red buff, he has IE Shiv, he's gonna get probably Zeal item again, or yeah, he's gonna get an FC already. Holy shit, he's big. iBoy chooses to go QSS versus the Karsa because he has no time Kench. So he's forced to do it. Yeah, Karsa just clears a bit of jungle before they go. Baron is up, 24 minutes. I think RNG's finally gonna start a Baron dance, as now Gnar has the potential to like go up to the inhibitor turret, and that's very, very like problematic for EDG because Ray has no way to stop him at the moment. And so RNG can start dancing around this side of the map, like around Nashor, just establish vision control here, put on this side like Denial Division there. They have to wait for like 2 vision trinkets. They only have 2 far sides. They can use only 2 far sides. They can bait in once. They can either force Nashor there or like force a pick or force a second force alteration. Like there's at most I think 40 seconds that EDG can buy with those blue trinkets if they do play it properly. And EDG is desperate for plays right now on the map, but they can't do anything. But RNG isn't in a good position to do anything. They'd just rather have let me just push up the wave there, force someone to go there to defend the wave. And this is where RNG clears this. Lemmy just doesn't give a fucking shit about her. Tanks it, face tanks it, and just does it. And here RNG is trying to look for picks, and this is what I said. They have literally EDG is blind around Nashor. They can't do anything, and so RNG knows this. They go for the pick. Quite easy to get the Alistar, no more Sightstone words, they can just go in, only 2 blue trinkets up. Uzi just goes for the Olaf here, kills him, goes for the Azir, kills him as well, with the Shen ulti, and they, I think, will manage to get Nashor for free now. Very good, very well played. Followed up with the Rise ulti to save their Sun in case they want to turn. So RNG just played this like perfectly. They get an even bigger goal advantage, like 10k hit now. But Uzi played this perfect, like perfect flashes, perfect auto spacing, perfect hiding, like holy shit. Also, I don't think EDG expected Uzi to do that, but I mean it's Tristana at 3 items now. She has Last Whisper and a Vampire Scepter as well, so this game is very, very bad. Like if EDG gets to play the front to back and they get a few more items, they can like stall for a bit more. They have a chance, but they don't have a static Shiv AD. They have Kog'Maw, so he's not the best wave clear champion in the game. So in this situation, EDG has to stall, but Kog'Maw cannot perfectly wave clear, Azir can wave clear, Olaf can wave clear, but that's it, like only these 2 can wave clear effectively. Whereas like if Azir comes up to a wave clear, then he immediately gets ulted by the Sejuani, and then the cleanse comes up. And then what do you do next time this will happen? Or maybe if Ming flash taunts. Like, yeah, Mako will try to pulverize and stuff like that, but he is still going to fall to the Zhao who CC, like, lock, and let me just go in and, like, there's so much that you can do. And right now, this is such a bad situation for EDG to be in because they cannot wave clear versus Nashor. This turret will fall eventually, they just take a bit more time. They should just use Banner Command onto one of the minions, but I think they use the top side. Zhao who is splitting bot side because they want to draw out pressure, they want to allow Uzi to get mid turret. RNG take the mid turret, go to the next one. Banner of Command was used the top lane, but I think there was Dematerializer used on it or something. I see only 1 Dematerializer remaining for Maker right now. None remaining for Zhao, but they're not in that situation where they do need it. And yeah, EDG is just trying to defend, but they will lose turrets left and right. The 1-3-1, there's no way to respond to this. Because Lemmy will just continuously hit the inhibitor, so will Zhao, and it forces the Azir to not wave clear. If you force the Azir to stay and to respond to the Zhao, then you only have Olaf to wave clear and iBoy, but these 2 cannot just do it themselves. It's like, yeah, iBoy has a QSS, yeah, he will get ulted by Sejuani, but it's still really dangerous because Yuzi can just come in with the RFC and a shift proc and just pop him once. And that's it. You just pop him once with the HP, and pop his HP once, and that's it. And here, EDG is actually trying to go for a play, but it's not going to work. They utilize the ult of Mako there. And RNG just suffocate them perfectly via the 1-3-1. This is the way to break the base. The hardest part of like I feel like Legends right now is to break the base. To break into the hybrid turrets. But RNG play perfectly. They have a comfort as well with the Gnar and the Ryze and Tristana. So they have kind of like a very good comfort. Also, it's great because EDG doesn't have Shiv AD carry as well to wave clear better. so he can whip through alone against Tristana or like someone more safe. So this is just perfect for RNG. They realize it and they just like pull the trigger immediately. This is 3 inhibitors down for our EDG, and EDG is looking at a very grim situation now. RNG just continuously just destroying them. The only good part for EDG now is that the waves are going to push into them and they will get a lot of farm. And they can actually try to, like, if they stall more, they might actually get to a point where they might win the fights. Because look at Azir's items. He has Nashers, he has Lion Dreams, he has Void Staff. He will fucking melt the Sejuani. Or the Gnar. Like, these two will fall instantly. Like, there's no way to survive the Kog'Maw with those items and Azir with those items. Like, look at, like, yeah, Sejuani hasn't adapted Foam and Kog'Maw and Azir will have a hard time hitting it. But it's still, I think, not enough with just the overall, like with Lion Drew's like, percentage burn and Kog'Maw's double, it's still so much damage that's there that even with Adaptive Foam, Sejuani and Gnar will fall like pretty fast compared to like. But I mean, Olaf is behind, so I guess he'll fall fast as well. But still, like it's still at a point at which they could just farm up a bit more, try to get more eco like items. So RNG doesn't have this huge advantage. Maybe it's gonna work, but it's three like super minion waves that are pushing into you, so it's very very hard to do anything. Like right now, EDG should just pull the trigger once as a 5-man unit. Like I think EDG should have done this from the 25th minute onwards. So like when they were pressured here, I think they should have pulled the trigger either in mid lane or into Rise. You're gonna lose your stuff regardless, so it's better off to like at least try to like, yeah, we survive, we trade 1 inhibitor turrets or 2 inhibitor turrets, but we get a pick on Rise and then we can easily defend. Or we maybe get a Tristana here, because it's better to just engage where the Shen is, and if you just remove that, then we're good to go. Like we can defend, yeah, Gnar will get our turret, yeah, Xiaohu will get our turret bot lane, but we can at least defend for like 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes until they put themselves into position. Maybe we can actually do something on Nasher, who knows. Like, they basically suffocated, like, RNG suffocated them perfectly because EDG doesn't want to take a fight that I know they're going to lose. But, like, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, Haro falls down so fast as well. Like, there's no way. They just have to do something. But they didn't, and now they have to just respond to all these super minions that are hitting in. And, yeah. It's just like a lost fight now. EDG has no way to do anything against it. Like, Banner of Command minions. Tristana just hitting the turrets randomly. 3 super minion waves just pushing in. There's like no way for them to do anything. So like EDG was still like just like didn't pull the trigger, I think, at the right time. And played the early game badly. And Haro actually misplayed quite heavily with Given the Rise. So like I think Haro dying there changed the game a lot and gave a lot of advantages to RNG. If Haro didn't die there, I think EDG might have still been in the game with their current composition. But him being dead there actually allowed also Xiaohu and Karasa to get mid-turret afterwards. So yeah, RNG can either wait for Nasher or they can just go to end. Because there's only one Azir turret running that's not even here. They just engage into it, but there's just no way to survive, and they just die to the Rise and Tristana, and the game is over. It's like, I feel like EDG should have just pulled the trigger like much earlier. Like they had a good comp. I predicted EDG to win based on the composition, but RNG just played way better individually. They played way better as a team in the early game. Haro made a huge mistake where he just fucked up. Both bot lanes, but there's a lot of mistake in the early game. Both dying to like obvious ganks or like ganks that could have been predicted quite easily. I don't know, just playing over aggressive, and Bray's choice of going Catalyst affected him so much because he lost so much pressure in the top lane, but he thought that they would be fine with a fast mid-game fight, 15 minutes or something. Instead of that, Haro just like straight up died here. They lost mid-tier 1 against Resident Sejuani, and then the game just snowballed from there because Xiaohu played perfectly, just shoving the waves, forcing Scout to stay back, forcing Scout to wave clear like a tier 2 mid lane, impacting the other lanes. Because they know Scout cannot join anything and Xiaohu can come there, they're forced to give it up, or they will just give the turret and free kills as well. So they're forced to retreat. They're retreating into tier 2 turrets. Perfect power and play, like Nasher dance around there, vision control denial. Perfect pick onto the Alistar. Then onto I think Scout and Haro as well to like kill them by UZI, and that just sealed the deal with the Nasher there. They can just take all the tier 2s. They can force in then this very good 1-3-1 to like do this, and I think at the point when RNG 1-3-1, like EDG should have pulled the trigger, and that's it. not much else to say. Like RNG played this so well. Like I don't know if unless EDG made a mistake that it did, I think they could have won, but they were just so hesitant after they fell behind, and the mistakes that they did were so costly because RNG played it perfectly. Like if you were to choose like, can I win based off enemy mistakes? EDG would definitely not be able to win because RNG made almost no mistake whatsoever. Like I think Uze and Mig made the only mistake in bowling their early game when they died. But other than that, they just played it absolutely impeccably. Like nothing to like say about it. So yeah, these are my thoughts. I think this is my review over the RNG EDG game that was actually put on the to be watched list, or I think by Riot, and actually streamed. It was such a nice game. I think there was also Schalke versus G2,